Happy December. I hope you guys had a nice Thanksgiving, however you spent the day and the time. I know some people had just the day off. Some people had the day before, the day after. Some people had a lot of the week off. So however it was for you, I hope it was a nice, relaxing day and that you spent it well and that you took time to intentionally be thankful for the blessings in your life. And I know it's easy for all of us in our humanity, our brains and our minds typically will go to what we're lacking and what we don't have. So even though we need to live in the spirit of thankfulness, I do appreciate that there is a time and a season that we do intentionally focus on it and we stop and we together collectively a lot of times focus on and talk about what the things that we are thankful for in our life. So, and I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you being here, listening to this. I know that there are so many things that you could be doing. There's so many options of things to listen to. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this episode. I know there's many of you that have been with me since the get-go, since the beginning. And I love hearing from new listeners that have found me a random list of ways. But whatever brought you here, however you got here, I'm grateful you're here. And I hope that you hear something today that's an encouragement to you and that helps you live the life that I believe that you were designed and created to live with intention, because that is my basic core message that I hope to always communicate, that I believe that each of us, me, you, we were designed, we were a thought and intention in the heart of our creator, and you're here for a reason. And I think we can get so distracted and live life on autopilot. And I want to be a constant reminder in your ear that you are here in this moment of time for such a time as this. And I want you to be intentional about it. I want the things that you're passionate about, the things that light you up. I want to be someone that encourages you to put your hand to those things. And it doesn't have to be even something that is known out in the world, but I know what it does when you live out the purpose and you live out of the intention that God had when he formed and created you. Life changes when you stop living on autopilot and you live to image your creator in the ways that he designed and purposed you. So I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you're here. And I'm excited that as we're starting the final month of 2024, I'm excited about all that this month is going to hold for us. And I hope that you'll intentionally walk through this month. It's a busy month for most of us, and it can be filled with so many beautiful moments that I want you to take in for what they're meant to be. So intentionally live out these last few weeks of 2024, and I'm excited about 2025. So I mentioned in the last episode that we were taking a quick trip. My girls and their families, they had a few days off, so we took a quick trip to Dollywood. And Dollywood was busy the day we were there. Everybody was at Dollywood. I think half of the United States was at Dollywood the day we were there. Joking, but it was super busy. But it was fun. We had fun. And it was a quick trip because my sons actually didn't have time off. So we drove back to Florida so we could all spend Thanksgiving together, which we did. And it was wonderful. And I actually didn't eat too bad, traveling. I know that sometimes can be a little pitfall. Even at Dollywood, I didn't do too bad eating wise. I did partake of a funnel cake at Dollywood because I love funnel cakes and I have not had a funnel cake in forever. And I was at Dollywood, so I was like going for the funnel cake. But I had already thought that through before I even left on the trip of most of the time I'm making healthy choices in my eating. So I thought, you know what, Susan, Don't overthink it. If there's something you want to eat, then it's not going to totally throw you off track. If on this trip you eat something that is not something you would normally eat, have fun and don't, stress about it or then beat yourself up about it. Just eat it and then keep moving. So I had the funnel cake. It was good. Got home. We had Thanksgiving. Actually, Thanksgiving meal. Didn't do too bad. Didn't really eat things that I knew would upset me. But almost every year, the leftovers are what get me every time. And I don't know if it's a mental thing that I am so prepared for, like not overindulging or eating something that I know might not sit well with me through the meal and leading up to it, that I let my guard down afterwards, because it's what happens most of the time, that leftovers are left in my fridge, and then all the things that I loved that I just ate a little bit of or didn't even eat because I was eating something else, the next day I eat it. And sometimes it's even the next day. So I ate several things that I didn't need to eat again, including some bread, which I'm fine if it's just like one day eating bread. But if I eat, and it was even sourdough, but even if I eat it a couple days in a row, it's like I feel it in my body. So I was feeling like I'd eaten stuff that I don't typically eat. I was feeling it. I don't think I weighed like the couple days after. And let me say, I've listened to somebody the past couple of years talk about, using scales and weighing yourself. And I love how they talk about that, because I think we can be so consumed with a number over like being healthy. And there is a connection for sure in that, but I'm not so consumed with a certain number. I just want to be healthy. I want to be healthy in my body. I want my body to be strong, and I want to be healthy. So it's not about some magical weight that I want to get to. I mean, years ago would be like, oh, I'd love to get back to this weight. It's not even about a number anymore. I want to be healthy, and I want my body to be healthy and strong. So recently my husband and I, we got a scale that actually is connected to an app on our phones. So I did this because I started doing alternate day fasting, which I'd heard of in the past few years. And I've done different kinds of fasting, and it's been a progression. I have seen major healing in my digestion and my body through the years, but it's almost been like layers, because there's definitely like some issues. It's almost been like layers of healing. And so I've done one thing and I cut out certain things, and it's like I've gotten to a certain point of healing with that. And then it's like, okay, kind of hit a peak or a plateau and tweak some things. So I kind of was like in a time where it was just like I wasn't sure what to do. I feel like I'd restricted almost anything that could be restricted, and I still wasn't seeing that next level of healing. So I'd heard about alternate day fasting, and I never had really tried it. But yet I have done like some major fasting, and that's really what helped me. But I wasn't seeing the same result in the way I was doing it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it. And I love it. Now, let me say, I don't love having to alternate day fast, but let me say, it definitely, my body is responding to that. So, and basically what that is, if you don't know, instead of fasting every day or however you want to do it, alternate day fasting is basically you're eating one day and then the next day you're not eating. But there is called modified alternate day fasting that actually I was doing, and I was losing weight even doing this, where you can eat on the fasting day, 500 calories. And first I was like, 500 calories? What can you eat for 500 calories? Because I was never a calorie counter, so I didn't really know. But I actually have several things that I can eat that are in 500 calories that is very satisfying. That if I'm certain part of the day, like feeling like, okay, I want to eat something, and it's, I try to make good choices in that as well. So sometimes it's eggs and something else. But anyway, I've a lot of times do the 500 calories, and that's been working very well for me. But I've done that. So that's why we got the scale and connected to the app, because I kind of wanted to track that to see if it was working, because You know how it is. It's like sometimes you think, oh, I'll remember like when you weigh it, like it was this weight, and then keep a track of that, and then you forget, or I forget where I wrote it down and all that. So we thought this will just be easier. It keeps it on the app, the tracking for you. So after Thanksgiving, I knew I could feel it in my body, all of the inflammation. So I did not weigh, I don't think, like the day after, or maybe even the next day after. So sometimes I give myself little days of like, okay, now it's time to regroup and get back on track. So I believe it was Saturday that I went to step on the scale, and I always do it at the same time, like first thing in the morning when I weigh. So I have to, open up my phone, and then I press the little thing. So I have learned, actually, I've gotten so much better in this now, but used to. It's like if I was weighing or doing something and I knew I was off track, I would like not want to see the weight, because then it would just make me feel defeated of like, you had done all this work and you've gone backwards. And I didn't want to feel that way. So sometimes if I know I've gone off track, I will then purposely not look at the weight, because basically it's like, I know what I need to do and I know what I'm doing. So I'll let the app take in the weight. So it's in my little app, but I'm not going to look at it to get it in my head until I'm in a better space. Okay. Does that make sense? So I hit the app thing, I step on the scale. And so I kind of glanced over it just because I can see if it does this little swirl thing that I can see toward making sure that it was actually capturing the weight. So I step on the scale. I do not look at what the weight is though. Okay. So then when I go to close out, like I'm not looking at the weight, but I'm going to kind of like make sure, like close out that app. There's like a message. So I couldn't even see what the weight was, because there was like a message that was like covering before I could close out the app. And I don't remember the exact words, but basically the message, y'all, was basically asking me to verify that it was me that was stepping on the scale, because there was such a weight fluctuation. And it said that as much of like, because of the like dramatic, maybe it went dramatic, but anyway, it said something very much like, basically I had to verify that it was me. And I was like, oh my Lord. I mean, but I literally, it made me kind of laugh. I was just like, this is my life. This is my life of like, yes, app, it is me. I am back. I disappeared for a week and I am back. Oh my gosh. I was dying. So I didn't know what the weight was, but I knew I'd fluctuated, obviously, since I had to verify it was me, to continue on the app. So, I was thinking about it after that, and it was like, it's such a battle sometimes. And I'm talking about, weight and health goals, but I mean, this can apply for anything. Sometimes it just messes with our minds, and it's like we can think, or I can think, I'll speak for myself. It's like you can think, I am so tired of restarting. I'm so tired of restarting this. I feel like I have circled this mountain, and it's just like, I don't want to be at this place again where I feel like I'm restarting. Like, what's the point? Why bother? I mean, what I'm saying? It's like our minds can mess with us and we can have those kind of thoughts. I don't beat myself up like I used to about that. I mean, where I would have those kind of thoughts of like, what's the point? Why bother? And basically when you have that kind of mindset, when I had that kind of mindset, I didn't stay on track with where I was wanting to go, because that's what I felt in my core. Why bother? Why bother? Eat the chips, eat the cookies, eat the brownies, the cake, whatever. It doesn't matter, because you're just going to keep circling this mountain. I no longer feel that way. I do know that I do need to restart, and I don't beat myself up. I have to take those thoughts captive of like, it does matter. And so I am going to bother to restart, because it matters. It matters. I want to be healthy. And if restarting is what it takes, then that's what I'm going to do, because I've realized that is life. Life is not just this straight, perfect line that we're all living. We've got ups and downs. We've got, loop-de-loops, and we have to restart. We have to get back on track. We veer off wrong exits. We have to, redirect our paths, but it's like, it's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, everything might not be worth it. And if it's not, then you need to adjust to that. But to the things that do matter. And this is something that matters. Like I said, I want to be healthy and I want to be strong. So it does matter. I'm getting back on track. I wasn't going to let it bother me. I'm like, I knew, okay, right. You're back on track. You know what to do. And here's what was interesting to me that I realized a few days later, because I continued then every morning to step on the scale and do that. And I don't know, maybe the next day I did look, I can't even remember. All I know is within a day or two, I think it was a day, I was shocked at how the weight was trending back, almost like my body was just automatically working to get back to the set point of what it was before the funnel cake and before the leftovers. And I knew that would eventually happen. That's why I was like, okay, I'm getting back on track. I don't know if I've ever seen it happen that quickly to move so dramatically in the other direction. Now, let me say, when I saw when I had to verify because it fluctuated, that wasn't a surprise to me. That has been my life. I can easily, from a trip like that or a thing where some people are like, oh, I fluctuated 2 or 3 pounds. No, not 2 or 3 pounds. I literally could gain 10 to 15 pounds from a trip or from Thanksgiving but I think some of it probably was because it was like, I would continue because it would be like, why bother, and just continue with partaking of the things that I didn't need to be continuing to partake in. So anyway, I think my body has gotten stronger, I guess, in that, because I was shocked of like, wow, of how quick it was moving back to the set point. I'm not totally there yet, but it's definitely made, great movement in that direction. And I was like, wow, such a great reminder that when we are feeling frustrated, that we're having to restart on whatever goal it is for you, whatever area in your life of something that you are working towards, even though it might feel that way of like, oh, I'm having to start over, like looking at the number and thinking, oh, wow, I just went totally backwards. That's not the case. I'm not truly starting over, because the person that stepped on the scale, even though that weight had fluctuated, I'm not the same person stepping on the scale, because I have the days and the weeks and the months prior to that trip that changed me. Okay. So even though things fluctuated, I'm not the same person. And I thought that was just such a great reminder, and it made me feel stronger because I am stronger. So I guess that's what I want to remind you today. Like I said, this doesn't only apply to weight or health. There could be there's other areas of my life as well that I'm wanting to grow in and that I am growing in. So I just want to remind you today that even if you're feeling frustrated and not seeing the growth that you feel like you've been working towards, and you feel like, or here's the thing, that you feel like you take a few steps forward and you see some reward for the effort, but then you feel like there's a setback, or you get off track, or whatever happens, and you have those same thoughts of why bother? Why bother? I always get to this point and then something happens, and then I'm never going to get to where I'm wanting to go. And that's a lie. That's a lie, because you have an enemy that wants you to give up, that doesn't want you to achieve that goal, that doesn't want you to live in the fullness of all that God designed and created you to be. You have an enemy, and that enemy yaks in your head all of the time, telling you, why bother? Give up. It doesn't matter. You don't have what it takes. And you have to take those thoughts captive, because they're a lie from the pit of hell. When you intentionally show up, do the work, lean in to growth, and you are allowing God and the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you and form you, and you are walking out in faith towards your purpose and towards health and towards healing and towards wholeness, that is not wasted. Not one choice, not one moment is wasted in that. Even if you are not seeing the results that you would love to be seeing, Progress is progress. You are moving towards health. You are moving towards healing. You are moving towards abundance. Whether it's visible to anybody else, you are getting stronger. You are getting healthier. You are getting closer and closer. You're growing and growing stronger towards the plans and the purposes that God has for you. So I just want to encourage you today to restart. If you need to, if there's something that you're feeling frustrated about and you need to restart because you had a setback and it kind of threw you, and maybe it was Thanksgiving. You know what? Maybe you ate too many pieces of pie and you're feeling it and you're like, why bother? Because Christmas is right around the corner and I'm just going to do it again. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's a few weeks until Christmas. So don't do that, because if you do that, you're going to feel worse going into Christmas. All the weeks before, you're going to feel horrible. But if you will make good choices now, then you're going to show up at Christmas and you can indulge and you can have the things, and it's your body's going to handle it different because of how you're living these weeks. And it's the same in every other area, every other thing that you are feeling called to. It matters. Every step matters. So keep moving forward. If you have to restart, because it's worth it. It matters and you matter. So I am excited about all that this next season holds for us. And I'm believing that as we have moved through and are moving through and walking out in these next few weeks, the season of autumn, that we have and we are continuing to allow anything that the Holy Spirit is showing us that we need to let fall away, that's weighing us down, that we are surrendered and listening, that we can intentionally open up our hands and let those things fall away. And as we enter into this next season, that we are able to be still in His presence and be rejuvenated as we slow down and we intentionally connect with God and those around us in a deeper way. So I love you guys. And again, so thankful that you're here and that you're listening, and I appreciate you. And I'll be here cheering you on to restart as many times as you need to. I'm restarting right alongside of you. So love you guys, and we'll talk soon.